Crossway, as you might know, was the house that I designed for myself and my family. Back in 2008 we built it, and it featured on Grand Designs in 2009, and it was the start of the practice focusing on designing new isolated dwellings in the countryside. It was also our first endeavour using the National Planning Policy Framework tool of paragraph 79E, or an earlier version of it. The site where we built our house had a small bungalow on it, and Maidstone Borough Council do have a policy for allowing the replacement of dwellings, but because we wanted to go from having a tiny little bungalow to having a family house on more than one level, the size and scale of the change we wanted to achieve wouldn't be covered by the replacement dwelling policy, far from it. So the planning department were minded to look at an earlier version of the paragraph 79 policy, which was PPS 7, paragraph 11 as it was then, and it was granted consent under that policy. Basically, we couldn't use the local plan policy for replacement dwellings, so we had to kind of lean on, if you like, PPS 7, paragraph 11. So Crossway had to achieve the, if you like, the high bar of PPS 7, paragraph 11, as it was then, and there were far fewer contemporary houses that had been granted consent under that earlier policy. The wording of the policy was very different back then, but it did require something innovative, truly outstanding, innovative, and reflecting the highest standards in architecture. And many of those tests, which were still present in the earlier version of the policy, albeit the tests have changed emphasis over time. So the house did need to meet effectively the paragraph 79E tests, and it did so by putting together a very strong design that was very well rooted to its site and its setting, and it's very specifically its landscape, its materiality, the technologies that were going to run it, how it was going to work, how efficient it was all wrapped up in why it was granted consent in the first place. And that became obviously the first of many for us, and now it's a subject that's very dear to our hearts. We only really work on paragraph 79 houses, so the wording of the policy is very much ingrained in our everyday language in the practice on every scheme we do. So we have developed a very strong set of design processes, but those processes can be rooted right back to when I designed Crossway all those years ago. It's about understanding a site in rigorous detail, really getting under the skin of a place and a site and its time depth, and also understanding a client, what a client wishes to achieve in a scheme, and at the appropriate point you start weaving those two sets of considerations together to develop an architecture that's truly of time, of place, for a specific client, for a specific site. And each of the projects that we've designed over the years is very much embodying that philosophy of understanding a client, understanding a site, and developing something truly unique to its landscape setting and its end users. So in a series of other videos I'm going to talk about each of the other projects that we've managed to get consent on thus far, and what I'll try to do on each time that we get a new consent, I will do a little video that explains what that scheme was all about in essence. Hopefully you find them useful. If you want to subscribe to our channel, click here. We'll see the next video, click over here. Thanks for tuning. If there's anything else you'd like me to discuss in videos, do drop us a line. I'm trying to cover as much as I can in some short little bite-sized chunks. Hopefully finding them helpful. Cheers. Bye.